Peace, family. Welcome to another episode, Underground Railroad Productions. This is a special one for the Patreon family. I'm here with the Blue Pill. I told y'all we're going to be exploring this series on Netflix, Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Very, very, very interesting show. Deals with spirituality, technology, and, consciousness. Yes, indeed.
And all of his facets.
Indeed, man. I mean, very interesting. I did the last segment I did was with Supernova, dope segment.
Shout out to Nova.
Today I want to talk about this episode. I think it's called San Junipero.
Yes, indeed.
Man, that was a interesting episode.
Yes,
Make you think about a lot of things. Make you think about the afterlife. Make you think about immortality. Makes you think about just emotions and
decisions,
decisions,
time, matters of the heart, all of these things, you know what I'm saying? It was a very deep episode.
So let me give you a recap. Let me say a little recap of the show. I'm on this website here, and we're going to give a little recap of the show. So like I said, the name of the show is called San Junipero. You may ask, what is that? If you haven't seen it or you're about to see it. Well, San Junipero is a computer-created afterlife that elderly people can upload their consciousness to for 5 hours a week while they're still alive and permanently after death. There's a character named Yorkie that is a wait, hold on, let me get this right. Well, let me just read it in yeah. Okay. Yorkie knows not just the date of her birth, but the date of her death, which will come after she finally marries her fiance and signs the papers to allow her to pass over to cease living and become a permanent resident of San Junipero. Yorkie, as it turns out, is a quadriplegic. She's been lying in the same bed in a vegetative state for 4 decades since she was in a massive car accident at the age of 21. She came out as a lesbian to her parents, and an angry response prompted her to flee from home straight into her accident. Her marriage with a legal formality as the only thing standing between Yorkie and her desire to die and permanently pass over to San Junipero is a living relative to sign the paperwork. Her new husband, a nurse at the facility Yorkie lives in, will handle said of paperwork just moments after their marriage is complete. There's another character because there's 2 main characters, Yorkie and Kelly. Kelly is a character that's introduced that has no desire to stay in San Junipero. While her husband died after the couple was married for 49 years, he refused to upload his consciousness to San Junipero. Instead, he believed that death was a vital part of life and hoped that he might be reunited after the couple's only daughter, whose death preceded that of her parents and the invention of this virtual heaven in traditional heaven. Kelly doesn't believe in traditional heaven, however, but she feels that she must keep the promise she made to her husband to die as he did and hope something happens in traditional heaven. So these 2 characters, Kelly and Yorkie, they meet in San Junipero and they fall in love with each other.
Right.
And basically, it goes on. There's a lot after this, but basically, it goes on and on. It's you got to make a decision. You want to experience what we traditional heaven or what we think we know is heaven after death, because nobody really knows what happens after death, or do you want to go to this computer virtual heaven that you could upload permanently? Whew, man, that's a deep
simulation.
Simulation, a heaven simulation.
Yeah,
so they're forced to make this decision in the show. But I'm going to end it there, and we're going to, different things from this episode as we talk, Blue Pill. But, I mean, it's just, wow, man. Well, what do you think about this technology creating a heaven for us, Blue Pill?
I think that religion itself is a technology, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So the download, right, or the program that we are installed with based on our interfacing with whatever doctrine that we've been indoctrinated into, you know what I'm saying, in a society By proxy, it's the Christian dogma. That's the doctrine that, by proxy, as a society, that we've all been indoctrinated into the Jesus Christ narrative. And with that doctrine, we are told about hell, and we're told about heaven, and we're given all of the dictates to follow, which will decide whether we get to one or the other. In Kemet, it's a mentor, and the weighing of the heart ceremony is the deciding factor, as they portrayed in the TV series American Gods, right? So in Islam, of course, we hear a lot on the news about their indoctrination into the afterlife ceremonies and the 72 virgins and things of that nature. So these are the programs that we interface with, that we've been downloaded with, that have become the determining factor of what we see as our final destination or our reward in the afterlife. And this is pretty much dictates how people move through the world, or at least it's supposed to be, right? For purposes of control, you know what I'm saying? Or purposes of tuning one's imagination with, whatever these different schools of thoughts are telling the masses of people is going to happen to you, right? The inevitable is going to happen to you after you pass physical form, of which, as you said, there's many different accounts, but no known one is fixed, in stone or concrete that says this is what's going to happen. And based on the evidence, everybody kind of moves towards that way. It's still pretty much up in the air, and it's pretty much based on what it is that you believe while you're living is going to be the determining factor as to what you experience when you transition, or so they say, because we don't know. So I think that this TV show is playing on that. This TV show, Black Mirror, is playing on consciousness being an extension of divinity, right? Man-made divinity, as technology is man-made. So it's kind of how they say that man made mankind, or mankind came after man or what have you. And original man is looking at the workings of their underlings, which is mankind, and then mankind goes ahead and makes technology in the same framework that man made mankind. So then we're watching an extension of humanity by way of mankind, endowing technology with these powers, and we're just looking at that dynamic about how these things play out once AI and computer and the cloud and all of that stuff becomes God, in this whole, and they're also playing on the power of decision. In life, we have a deciding factor as to which one of these systems we're going to interface with, and how we agree in life to deal with death, or address death, or fantasize about death, or imagine death to be, So it's genius that these shows are coming along and allowing consciousness to have also another say in that particular inevitable factor, which is death, the only thing promised.
In this show, and in a lot of shows that I have seen where they entertain the idea of immortality or living forever, the person that's immortal is usually miserable. It's usually torture to live forever. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was young, Blue, I had this one, I'm talking about real young, probably like 5, 6. I used to have this thought that you should just always come to me about when you learn about religion and God and all that, and this thought used to always come to me about when I die, I'm gonna live forever, And it used to just bother me, like what, like, and I used to be like, yo, how the fuck I'm gonna live forever? Like, yo, what does that feel like? Like literally to like, I would get like it would just drive me like to the point where I get anxiety thinking about living forever, to the point where I just told myself one day, after like years of going through this thought, fearing living forever, I just said to myself, like, I'm gonna just let it be. When it happens, it happens. I'm not gonna think about living forever. But there was a window when I was young, where that was the scariest thought. Me dying and living forever. I couldn't imagine. Like, my human consciousness didn't know how to interpret it or understand or analyze that. So when I see this show, it hits home, and it's like,
I got a flip side of that.
yeah. Talk to me about,
Okay.
if we were truly endless, we would go mad. Is that why God plays this game with humanity, and this virtual game called humanity? Because living forever is boring, is miserable. This is deep. Talk to me about this, please, Blue.
It is. My indoctrination was somewhat different. My father is a proud atheist. You know what I'm saying?
He's a what?
He's a proud atheist. So at a young age, about the same age that you're telling me that you were having, these thoughts, my father used to indoctrinate me with the thought that when you go on, that's it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to experience eternal silence. You have nothing looking forward to but an eternal death. So you got to squeeze everything out of this experience, because when this is up, this is it. It's like laying in the grave forever, and either being conscious of it or not being conscious of it. Like you're just not conscious. You're just gone. This is a wrap. Because he doesn't believe in a afterlife or a creative force. You know what I'm saying? So I had to weigh that out with what I felt myself. You know what I mean? And I wasn't feeling that. I entertained the thought because it was downloaded, you know what I'm saying, by way of the person that I was looking up to, but it didn't sit that well with me. You know what I mean? So I used to dip into thoughts that you was talking about. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, nah, like I'm gonna be here forever. You know what I mean? And I kind of built my consciousness up to that. And I moved through the world kind of like with that thought pattern. But both thoughts at one point or another to me have been, for the lack of a better word, scary. Because another thing that my father always taught me is, he said, the only thing constant in life, the only thing constant is change. Right. You feel me? So in death, would the only thing constant be change? You know what I mean? Do I have emotions in death? Am I experiencing the same thing? Is it happiness? You know what I mean? Am I waiting on the people that I left behind, living on earth, to make it up there so we could continue with this big party? You know what I mean? Are we partying with people who, came? It's just so many questions. And I think that we make mistakes by approaching the afterlife, thinking about it with the faculty of mind that we have been afforded in this life. You know what I'm saying? We're thinking as humans in this program for a reason, but I don't think that those thought patterns or the way that we see things or think about things, I don't think that we take that into higher planes, because our brains, right, are created for this temporal experience. Remember, I tell you all the time, the mind is not, you know what I'm saying, it's not housed here. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not localized here. We can't find it on this particular plane. You know what I mean? The brain is the interface. You feel me? So I don't think that we have brains in the afterlife. I don't think we have brains in heaven. So if we're thinking on a different density level, right? And that thought pattern is something that we can identify with now, because let's say it's our highest form of thought, and we might get glimpses of that in this particular lifetime, whether you went through some bona fide discipline or you had some hellified drugs. You know what I'm saying? You have a brief glimpse and an interface with that faculty of thought, and then they're saying, well, eternally you're going to be experiencing that thought form. It will be tantamount to when you orgasm and you have this blissful thought pattern, you know what I'm saying, or this blissful thought, you know, mindset, you're going to experience that eternally. You dig what I'm saying? So if I'm going through all that, you know, when do I have time to be concerned about this or think about this? I'm just in a state of continuous elation. And then in the state of continuous elation, do I even recognize or know time? Something that the brother 19 Keys said that was very instrumental is he said, time is a measurement of movement. So when you stop moving, then time stops being calculated. So we would have to ask, in our after eternal life, are we moving? You know what I'm saying? Are we traveling? Are we going from one place to another? Or as spirit, is everything accessible at one time? So if we're transcending the whole concept of time, would we even know that we are living eternally? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hope I'm not evading the question. These are just the things that start rolling into my mind when I start engaging and thinking about that question. To say, well, what are the variables? You know what I'm saying? How do we actually pin down this question and entertain it with a corporal mind, with a temporal mind, when these things, you know, in order to really engage it, we have to be thinking not as a human. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not how we're going to experience it.
Like I said, there's two females in this episode, Yorkie,
and Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Yorkie's the quadriplegic, she's the white female, and Kelly's the black female.
The sister, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when Kelly's husband originally died, after they were married 49 years ago, he refused to upload his consciousness to this virtual reality. Now, we say this is a virtual game, this is an illusion, this is Maya, there's different names for it. If you find, because it makes this what happened, you know, she feels guilty about not going to traditional heaven with him and making a different decision and staying in San Junipero with Yorkie.
Right. When
you look at something like this, Blue, we find love down here in the form of our parents, in the form of and through our friends. We have a bond with our friends. We fall in love with our mates. We have love with our children, family. Would you feel obligated in another life to stay with these people? If this is an illusion, shouldn't you have the right to go do your own thing in the afterlife? Or do you think you need to stay with your family in an illusion in another world? I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but it's an illusion. Should we feel obligated to stay with somebody in another life?
This the thing, right? We never stop feeling. When do we stop feeling long enough to come to that conclusion? So the fact that we do feel is what has us buying into the whole concept that we are experiencing something that's real to begin with. It's all based on the feeling, right? Again, something else that you can't focalize and localize here in this particular, you can't point to me and show me where feelings and emotions are at. You know what I'm saying? It's not physical. So these are gases, these are experiences, these are chemicals, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But we are controlled and we're guided by them. We make our decisions based on them. So if the only thing that we know in this life is what we feel, you dig what I'm saying, then of course we're going to be tied into the fact that we want to travel with our families wherever they are, whether that's like, I'm gonna see you in the afterlife, baby. You know?
Yeah.
Keep a seat warm for me. I'll be there soon. You don't, like, what if they're going to a different quadrant of space than you are? What if their assignment is going to take them, you know what I'm saying, to Jupiter next time, or wherever life is at in the universe? You know what I'm saying? What if they're being recycled to go and do X, Y, and Z? So these are just things that we say. These are things that we like to entertain, you know what I'm saying, based on our limited understanding of something that's so vast like the afterlife, right? Because we're totally disconnected from the antiquated knowledge that we had of what the afterlife entails. So we're putting all of these pieces together, right? We're borrowing from all of the, mythological renderings and aspects of what these different dogmatic religions are telling us about the afterlife. And because we're in America, we're mixing and meshing the two. You know what I'm saying? We putting all stuff together, things that we do like and things that sound cool, and that's what we're running off of. So, I do feel that that's why a lot of souls are still on this planet. You know what I'm saying? Having ascended, having went on to that next phase and that next chapter, because a lot of us are locked into this whole thing that we don't want to leave the house, we don't want to leave our family, the mothers, the child might be in their mid-30s or late 30s. That's my baby. I don't want to go nowhere. You know what I mean? And souls are not ascending properly. There's not a mass ascension that's taking place. There's a lot of earthbound souls that are still on this plane that haven't broken through. You know what I'm saying? And that's based on other things, funerary rites, you know what I'm saying? Us not building up enough of that spiritual chi, enough of that ashe to really make those ascensions at this particular time. But a lot of it is based on what we're holding on to in this temporal experience, you know what I'm saying? Like Kelly was like, I'm just passing through. You know what I'm saying? I'm just passing through. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stay here forever and a day. People trying to stay here forever and a day. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? And that's not what this place was designed for. So
it was designed for us just to pass through, like they said in the episode.
Pass through, leave, put some writing on the wall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, what do you? The idea of time traveling? They was visiting the 80s, the 90s. They was visiting different eras. What you think about? Is that something that you think can happen? Time traveling?
Yeah.
Like when you think of time, you think about Back to the Future and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they saying everything happens in the now. So if everything happens in the now, some people kind of don't get the idea of time traveling.
I mean, in quantum physics, time is a continuum. You know what I'm saying? The past, present, and the future exist at the same time, simultaneously. So, theoretically, you can hack into the past and experience it because it's a continuum. There's still a trajectory that exists that you can hack into and get into that space and that place. But I just think more so that it's a simulation. So they'll be able to render that simulation based on footage, pictures, and your own memory. And piecing all of those things together, you're not going to be able to tell that whether it's real or not, because again, it's based on a nostalgic feeling. You're going to have a feeling. It's going to be a look. Like today, I was on my IG, and a brother, his entire page was dedicated to New York in the 70s, right? And early 80s. It was nostalgic. I was transported. I was there. I was, I was smelling the smoldering, burning garbage cans in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? I was smelling the exhaust of them big clunky bus. You know what I'm saying? They used to go down Broadway. I was seeing the glittering concrete. Remember when the concrete used to have the sparkle in it? I remember when the snow was clean enough that you could eat it. I was remembering all that stuff. I remember how the leaves used to be greener. I remember we used to have caterpillars, earthworms when it rained. All of these things were coming back to me just based on me seeing some pictures. So if I'm releasing all of that, all of these chemicals are being released in my brain, you know what I mean? And they know where to, you know what I'm saying? They know what part of the brain is releasing these particular chemicals. I don't think that it's going to be that hard for them to capture that, a snapshot of that, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I mean? A little tincture and expand upon that, put that in the program and make it seem as real as possible. And you throw them virtual glasses on. That's your initial introduction. And you can't tell whether it's real or not because your brain can't tell the difference. That's why it's called an oculus rift. It's a rift between what's real and what's not. You know what I mean? They're playing that very thin line. And yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
just think.
I do feel that a semblance of time travel is going to be available to us. I do feel that, you know what I'm saying, the way that they're encapsulating consciousness with those gadgets, putting them on a temple, you know, and then uploading it to the server. I do feel that our great grandchildren are going to be able to experience us through simulation when we're not here, based on the fact that I mean, you're already technically on file through data mining. So there's not too much of your activity that's not already accounted for. If they need to make some sort of composite of you that goes along with your activity, they can do that as well. They have the video, you know what I'm saying? It's even being explained to me that as long as they have audio, they can create physical renderings of that audio. So me talking in a room, giving off this audio, they have computer modules that can take that audio and they can describe everything that's going on in this room. They can come up with entire physical renderings of this room based on how my sound is bouncing off of different objects and oscillating. So, you know what I mean? I really don't doubt that we won't see time travel in our lifetime. And that's just the initial phase of it. I'm also one to say, yeah, I'm talking about, you know, physical time travel, transporting something from A to B, you know what I'm saying? And that being from the present to the past or from the present to the future. Because they've already done it in experimentation through quantum physics. They've already done this. They've transported already.
Wow, man. In terms of when you think about, you know, virtual realities, and you think about this already being a virtual reality, and you see these people, you see everybody embracing the Oculus Rifts. What they call those things? The
virtual reality goggles. Yeah.
Don't they have a certain name?
VR.
VR. That's what they. Okay, just VR. Okay. Is it really crazy, Blue? Like, because we're in a hologram, entering another hologram. You know what I'm saying?
Entering another
hologram.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they crazy? Is it all the same shit at the end of the day, man? It's all a hologram? Because I seen dudes that they thought they was having sex with these glasses on. Like, really thinking they're going through the motions and all that, the movements and all that.
Absolutely.
So is this a sign that we're going crazy, or is it a sign that we're getting closer to understanding how fake this reality is?
Closer to understanding how fake.
Yeah, like it's meant to be manipulated. It's meant for us. Girls can have fake asses because it's all fake anyway. Dudes can have sex spots because it's all fake anyway. I could have a VR glasses and I could be rich. I could be a millionaire because this shit is fake anyway. So is that us coming closer to the truth or further from, you know?
When I look at it, it's the overstimulation of stimulation. You know what I mean? Which is interesting because we're becoming less human. Right. So more so was about, right, the enjoyment of the flesh, the pleasure principle while we're in our corporal form. You know what I mean? And people want to find out, well, how can I extend it? You know what I'm saying? What can I do to prolong it? What can I do to enhance it? What can I do to do this? What can I do to do that? But then we're also becoming less human, meaning we're taking on more plastic into our body. You know what I'm saying? More cybergenetic features are being entertained. You know, people are entertaining chips. People are entertaining, you know what I'm saying, different sort of fiber optics and interfacing with all different sort of technology to make themselves something that would be a little bit less than human, but they're doing it for stimulating reasons. I want to feel something more, right? So I'm past just putting, earrings in my nipples or earrings in my nose or my chin, and you know, because people are doing these things for stimulating reasons, I would assume, the majority of them. So, you know, now it's like I want to put this gadget here. I want to replace my arm with this. You know what I'm saying? I want enhancements. You know what I mean? And a lot of it is topical, right? Like women saying, I want fake breasts or I want a plastic booty. You know what I mean? Like that is taking the feeling out. From what I understand, they're not getting the same feeling in their breasts. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's sucking on their nipples and stuff like that, those the nerves and stuff like that, they're not going to render the same feelings. So they're doing it for outward appearance. You know what I mean? She getting smacked on the ass and it's 10 pounds of rubber, a blubber in there. I don't think it's the same. She's not getting the same wave, oscillating wave effect. You feel me? As when she just probably just had a fatty. So it's purely for the appearance. You know what I'm saying? And if it's for the stimulation, I don't know if it's for her or if she's trying to please her partner, you know? But the more and more that I'm seeing what I'm seeing in regards to these TV shows and how they're going into people interfacing with technology more and more, it's just a very interesting paradigm, and I see us voluntarily going there. And not only voluntarily going there, but as much as these shows might pretend to be cautionary tales, I think that it's priming people more so to say, you know, that's something that I would want to experience. The same way that our people might have been primed with Star Trek to say, oh, sure.
Right.
I need you know what I mean, a flip phone. I need a tablet. I need this, you know, I need the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth. I need all of these things because this is what I grew up with and it only makes sense. Because it represents, right, through symbolism, it represents the future. So you transferring your consciousness to the cloud, you feel me? To say, look, the most important thing that you have is your memories. It's your mind. You know what I mean? If the body's temporal, but the mind is eternal, why not capture this mind? So now they playing with a game that's very dangerous because where does the mind go when the body falls? You know what I'm saying? We don't know that. Does it recycle and come back as you again? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things that we would have to go back into the Eastern philosophies and Buddhism and deal with reincarnation all over again to address these questions to say, okay, well, is the mind a continual rendering program that, you know what I'm saying, once you finish this particular this life and this lesson, then you're going to start another one, but is your mind still going to be intact? You know what I'm saying? And you're just getting this new form, these new clothes that you put on, this new spacesuit. You feel me? And then you're passing through and then that's going back and it's re-looping and X, Y, and Z. So as long as we continue to not have a grasp on these answers and for it to always be so ambiguous, we're always going to be willing to entertain the alternative, which is going to be fantasy and entertainment. You know what I mean?
Like I said, San Junipero is a virtual reality heaven where you don't have to go wait for traditional heaven.
Right.
There was an article that came out the other day that said black people are the most religious people in America.
Hey, ain't that something?
We're told that heaven is something that happens in the afterlife.
Yeah.
The people who are not in a religion, those are usually the ones that try to create that shit right here. Right. They be like, man, fuck that. I ain't waiting. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm buying the most expensive car. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm experiencing heaven right here. Yes. Do you think people who are into religion, do you think they got it wrong where they try to, they don't want to explore the good life, the quote unquote good life here, and they live meek and they live humble, what we call humble, and they wait for heaven and the afterlife? Is that the wrong way? Is there a wrong or right, or are they have we been tricked since heaven is supposed to be a state of mind in the first place?
In our traditional societies, you know, we spend our entire lives getting ready for our transition.
Yeah.
That was our, you know, our life course was about the preparation, right, for our afterlife. And we understood certain things about our afterlife in terms of, you know, its eternal status. or what it affords us if we was to play our hand properly, you know what I mean, and keep constant memory of our ancestors alive, you know what I'm saying, do the things that were dictated to us in whatever sort of, whatever if we was part of this tribe or we were part of this religion or we were part of this or part of that, the things that our people prior to us did, those were the things that we did, or the people that might have came along at that time, you know what I'm saying, impressed upon us, whatever they were doing at the time, then I guess that's what we might have done. But here it's different, you know what I'm saying? Because, you pretty much you can do what you want, you know what I'm saying? In this particular day and time, a lot of our people, because of their indoctrination, have chosen that they're going to follow the dictates of Christianity, which say that you need to be pious, you know what I'm saying? You need to be without during this particular time, pay your tithes, be a good Christian, you know what I'm saying? Go to church, say your prayers, be a good neighbor, be a good husband, be a good this, be a good that. Along the way, about a generation, 2 or 3 ago, we lost a lot of these things, but there's still a good majority of them that we're holding on to, you know what I'm saying? I think that, those statistics show that a good amount of our people are Christians or still in the church. I think it's about 85%. It's a very large number,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, they drop in on Sunday, you feel me? And, they got the Jesus piece or they got the cross or what have you. I don't know in this day and time what religion amounts to outside of some of the symbolic gestures that people get into. You feel me? I don't know how else they get into their religion. You know what I mean? Whether it is practicing and coinciding with the 10 Commandments, the society that we live in doesn't really afford for the strict, stringent practices of religion. And the children that we know, the people that we know, I don't think that they are the most adherent Christians on the planet. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much, it's a loose version of the worship that we might have been used to, or that it ain't your granddaddy's religion. You know what I'm saying? So our people have been, a good majority of our people, they have been duped into, not living out their mandate or their destiny, you know what I'm saying? And then again, I don't know what their mandate or their destiny is. I can only imagine that, they could probably get busy and do, because when their children end up leaving home, you know what I mean? Their children kind of like be the ones that go out and make things happen real quick when they break free of whatever prison that dogmatic religion has them under. Some of them go and, they make a splash into the world. But then a lot of them find themselves in a very slippery place where they're like, damn, I'm glad that I was taught what I was taught when I was younger, because this is what I really needed to keep me grounded. Or I got to go tap back in because, you know what I'm saying, I felt Satan on my heels, and, I was in the hills in Hollywood and I seen some shit that, made me run back to the church. Look, when Craig Mack recently made his transition and I'm looking at the footage of him, in South Carolina with this congregation, this Christian congregation, and I'm listening to what's being said, you feel me?
That was spooky, man.
And it's spooky, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, here's somebody who arguably might have been around some things. He might have had access to some things. You know what I'm saying? What did he see or what did he go through that spooked him to a degree that he was willing to minimize himself like that and now offer himself over to whatever he was offering himself over to? That is his personal conviction. You know what I'm saying? That's what he decided to do, and that's how he decided, to show up in his faith or what have you. We might look at it kind of crazy, and we might not understand it, and we might not agree with somebody forfeiting an opportunity to gain access to the worldly riches, or access to fame or fortune, the very same things that society instills in us that we need to be driving for. You know what I mean? We have issues when we see people walk away from these things, give these things up to get back into religion, to get back into, living a life of service for their Lord and Savior, whoever and whatever that may be. You dig what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, these are personal decisions, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. And we can sit back with our eyes and look at somebody's situation and say, I don't understand why they would do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why they would wait for the afterlife. But they have strong beliefs. They have strong beliefs about how they're supposed to operate as a Christian during this lifetime and what will be afforded to them in the afterlife. You know what I'm saying? And we're still not in a place or a station to know that when you make transition, whether you're going to see Nana up there sitting in her gold-plated mansion, you feel me? With candles in every window, living at the top of the hill, bossed up, you know what I'm saying? Based on the time and the dedication that she put in to. I still strongly, in my convictions, I feel that based on what you ascribed yourself to in this lifetime, I think that the rendering of your program in the afterlife is going to afford you that as well. Because I'm not one that thinks that the assimilation stops here. I think it's all assimilation. You know what I'm saying? I think this all of it is a program. Not just this, that as well. You know what I mean? So I think that Nana's experiencing her version of heaven. If Nana was in a church for 40, 50, and 60 years, and we're talking about Nana here, all right, we're talking about that maternal force that made all of this possible. We're talking about Nana, right? We're talking about a powerhouse. If Nana gave 40, 50, 60 years of her life, if she gave $60,000 of her earnings, okay, there's something for Nana in the afterlife, okay? And don't buy into it not being something for Nana in the afterlife. Separate yourself from your beliefs, your convictions, and your dogmatic religion, and let Nana have her afterlife. It's important. Dig what I'm saying? Now, that doesn't necessarily have any bearing on you. She could be sending you blessings and still doing stuff that she got to be running plays where she's at. She could be running plays for you where she's at, for you, where you at. That don't mean that when you make transition that you got it. She might even be sending for you though, but that don't mean that you're going to have to go and see her where she at. You know what I mean? She might pop up and you might see a version of her wherever you at. It's still a simulation. You know what I'm saying? Anything's possible. It all can happen. If it's in your mind, it all can happen. So if the body, right, this is the faculty in which we are able to run the plays. The mind is like the coach, and the body is all of these different players. You know what I'm saying? Even though the mind is not pretty much, it's not part of the body. We can't find it, or localize it anywhere on the body or what have you. There's still aspects of the physicality of this life form that limits the mind and its expressions. So when the body is no more, then the mind is no longer limited. It's limitless. So who's to say that the mind is not able to run these programs? Where you can see Nana doing what she do, how she do it. You know what I'm saying? Well, her band of sisterins and the people from her church living it up. I want to see that for Nana. You dig what I'm saying? I damn sure don't want to see Nana in hell. And I don't want to see Nana miserable for eternity. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm a Muslim and Nana's a Christian, I don't necessarily want to see Nana in 3/4 when I make my ascension if that's not what she was into. You dig what I'm saying? there should be a version of what she was into, prepared and ready for her. You know what I mean? Hey.
I want to explore, like in this show, in this particular episode, the two females, they were in a gay relationship with each other.
Yes.
There's another show. I'm gonna mention another show on Netflix. Carbon. What's it called? Carbon. Altered Carbon. Yeah. Where they also explore the idea of reincarnation in the afterlife. And there was a gentleman who
uploaded consciousness. Right?
Yeah. Where you upload your consciousness in another body, in another body, in another body. There was a man. Since we're talking about Nana and loved ones, there was a man whose wife consciousness got uploaded into another body, but that body was one of a man. So now we have a situation where you have this bond with somebody that you're not aware of, and it's a man. So, you know, does that make homosexuality acceptable in a higher sense, I could say, where some people say, I don't know, I'm just attracted to this person, and you're like, nah, that shit ain't cool, dude. You're supposed to be with a woman. But what if that dude that the dude is in love with was his wife in a past life, was Nana in a past life, and he wants, you know, I mean, it's just some weird shit when we talk about consciousness getting, getting uploaded into different bodies, man.
This is where you cue in Sister Myra and Delbert Blair. May he rest in peace. Because Delbert spoke about this. I think Sister Myra might have spoke about it as well, and that is the fact that souls reincarnate, you know, into different corporal beings, into different bodies. They were speaking about this in particular with black souls reincarnating into white bodies. You know what I mean? And you know, the fact that we can't always judge a book by its cover because we don't know, you know what I'm saying, what's underneath that cover. You know, I think that we should listen when a lot of homosexuals, in this particular case, transsexuals, say, oh, I was born a man, but I was a woman, so I had to get a... So what part of them are they saying was a woman? Is that the soul? Is it a spirit? You know what I'm saying? They have a spirit of a woman, or they have a soul of a woman? Because all of the lessons keep telling us that these things are asexual. You know what I'm saying? Androgynous. That's the word I was looking for. So why does it tinker with gender when it comes to physicality, to these particular people to say, oh, you know, I have this thing in me that, you know what I'm saying, this is this and this is that. But, you know, if there's ever a time when there was the ability to get the wires crossed and stuff like that to happen, I think it would be now. So with this influx of what we see with, in particular, transsexuals, you know, I don't know what other excuse, you know what I'm saying, or way to explain it, whether it's a chemical imbalance or we're talking about matters of the soul or the spirit, you know what I mean, which in some way has a way to tie into that, because how do we identify soul and spirit? They say that if you could quantify it, right, they say that I think that the soul is 2.2 grams, right, upon time of ascension, that they're able to weigh it. So if you can weigh it, it can be quantified. So there's a level of physicality to it, you know what I'm saying? If you can identify it, then it's a real thing, okay, that has tangible effects.
Yeah, man, just a lot of interesting concepts when we contemplate this. Like I said, man, don't watch this show if you smoke weed. Don't smoke weed and watch this, because you gonna be thinking all types of thoughts after watching this show, man.
Yeah, I had to research after the show just to make sure that I knew that everything that I was looking at was what it was. I was like, huh?
In the show, there's a scene where Kelly is upset at something, and she gets cut, but she doesn't really get cut. She
Disappears, right?
Yeah, disappears. You know, we could pain a lot in this life about pain. And, you know, I done been in car accidents. You talked about getting stabbed before. We done been through a lot in the years that we've been down here in this 3D experience. Would you trade what you've been through for an experience with absolutely no pain? If this realm was a realm with absolutely no pain? Because it seems like they was kind of miserable that they didn't have pain. Like they was a little upset at the fact that there was no pain in this virtual reality world. So could you see a situation where you would want to have pain? Because that seems kind of sick, but it seems kind of sick to be, you know, I don't know. You get what I'm saying, though.
I do. An appreciation for pain comes with much, you know, like maturity. You have to live a lot of life to really grow an appreciation for pain. I wasn't appreciative of pain until I was in my mid to late 30s. You know what I mean? Where I really understood pain. My full appreciation and understanding of pain came by way of the gym, you know, grueling, excruciating sessions in the gym.
You always talk about resistance.
And I had an unrelenting trainer, you know what I'm saying, who totally like broke me down to build me up. And I became appreciative once I got built up. That I was like, I couldn't have got here if it wasn't for that pain.
That's what propelled you saying?
Yeah, I was able to look at the results of it, and I had a deeper love and appreciation for myself, not only because of my physical form, but because I got to know myself. You know what I'm saying? I was able to push past my thresholds. And then I was able to see the illusion of pain. That I was like, these are just chemicals at the end of the day. You know what I mean? My arm really is not falling off. Feel like it's falling off. My shit is not falling off. You know what I'm saying? This is an illusion. These are just chemicals within my muscles. Like my mind got so much stronger where I was able to, you know what I mean, override physicality by using my mental apparatus to be like, yo, this is all mental. This is all mental. And if I don't allow it to become an issue, then it won't bother me. So I started tricking pain. You know what I'm saying? I started making it work in my favor. Almost to the point where I was looking for it. It started running away from me. I was chasing it.
That's some deep shit. That's some deep shit.
Nigga said I was looking for that. And it was elusive.
Yo.
Like, nah, not today.
Wow, that's deep.
I was like, until I could get the pain, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't fulfilled in my workout. I was tearing it down. Like, but once you get past that place, once you get past the whole, it's like a bully, you know what I'm saying? Once you demystify the bully gonna start running from you. You know what I'm saying? Because the bully don't have that same power anymore. So once I conquered pain and got past it, you know, it started working for me. But you know, yeah, I wouldn't want to. So from that place, because of where I've been in my life and my appreciation for pain, knowing its process and the growth, and I'm all about the process, I wouldn't want a life without the pain. You feel me? Me personally. But my aptitude for pain is different than other people's, you know what I'm saying? There are people who have lost parents, there's people who have lost children, you know, there's people who have lost loved ones, there's people who have lost limbs, you know. I'm sure that they might answer this question differently. You feel what I'm saying? There's people who have not learned how to turn the pain off. And we can look at society and see that, you know, by the drugs. You know what I'm saying? 7 out of 10 people are on prescription drugs. And the majority of those prescription drugs are for pain. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of what they say in our community, particular, we're the number one leaders in heart disease, which is the number one killer in America. You know, a lot of that heart disease comes from broken hearts. That's pain. You know what I mean? Not properly dealt with, not properly synthesized into, you know what I mean, another form of strength. So at the end of the day, I guess it's to each his own. You know what I mean? We all have different ways that we approach that particular question because there's levels to pain.
Man, I wasn't expecting you to go in like that on that question, man. Like I said, man, it's good to have these type of talks with these shows because it makes us think about a lot of things that, you know, we may not articulate out loud, but we just keep within us. But very interesting answer, man. Like you said, some people might disagree and want a life without pain, but yeah, the way you gave that broke down how you experience it in the gym and how pain is just all chemicals, man. I definitely appreciate that right there. Yeah, the hour's about up, Blue. I definitely appreciate the breakdown of this episode. Is there anything you want to leave the people in moving forward? We're going into 2020. We're going into 5G technology and all this fancy stuff. What would you want to leave the people with after seeing this episode, Blue?
The most startling part of the episode was the end. You know what I'm saying? They had a server farm. Oh, yeah. They were just extending, you know, for what appeared to be like probably miles. And these server farms.
So for people, you mean the computer servers?
Yeah, the computer servers.
And it went miles long.
It went miles long. Right. And these will be, you know, this is the interface. This is where the consciousness, you know what I'm saying, has found its home. And all of these simulations are taking place in whatever virtual realm that has been created to supplant reality. You know, I just saw a advertisement for the company that makes the Red camera. They're coming out with the hologram phone. So it was already explained to me through a few friends of mine who they do IT work and everything. You know, they're engineers. So they was kind of like giving me the skinny about what the 5G network was about. And, you know, they was like, yo, that's for the hologram phones. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be beaming holograms.
That's what's for 5G?
I mean, that's one of the many things that 5G is going to afford us the ability, you know what I'm saying, to interface with. So right away I saw it. You know, I seen the Red camera getting ready with the 5G phones, the hologram phones off the 5G network. And, you know, a few people have been reaching out to us, asking us about the organs because they said that they already got 5G in their neighborhood, you know. So it's a cause of concern for a great amount of people. I think that we need to be diligent. We need to keep our eyes wide. We need to do the research. You know, if we're always susceptible to entertainment, they're always going to find new ways to enslave you. They're going to always find new ways to make you capitulate to whatever it is that they're offering you. And, you know, they haven't provided or given you any reason why you should trust anything that they're offering you. You know what I'm saying? Everything that they do has some sort of financial imperative in front of it. And yeah, health is a non-factor. They're not factoring that in. They don't care. You know, they have already allocated all of the funds and the resources towards healthcare to say, look, you know, we actually need these beds to be filled up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, the 5G it's going to be a gift and a curse. You know what I mean? Like I said, the same 5G networks, the same companies that are going to make a gazillion dollars off of the 5G, you know, those are the same companies as well that are dealing with net neutrality. You know what I mean? So they're about to make hand over fist in both realms. You're going to pretty much be paying for your own death. So I don't want to be too negative, though. You know what I'm saying? We need to, again, just do the research. look further into it, look deeper into this whole aspect of what 5G has to offer. All right. And that's about it, y'all. Peace, love, and light. All right.
Leave your contact info over there.
At Blue Pillar 44 on IG. Blue Pillar 44 Gmail. Okay. What is it? Paranormal.com, SoulGoBiz.com, MyPowerPieces.com. Peace, love, light.
What's up with the guy?
Our body.